We have racists, and they've existed, they've tried to get elected president. He's the first one that has.
These are racist ideas, race-baiting ideas, anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, anti-women.
These comments from the White House are disgraceful and disgusting, and these comments are racist.
Mr. Trump is a racist.
And on and on and on.
Really supports veterans. I'm an Air Force veteran myself, so I really respect that because no other president's really been actually sticking their neck out for us, and I really appreciate what he's been doing for the VA. And he's trying to keep us out of wars. You know, a lot of the things I thought he was going to do, like I thought he was going to get us into war with North Korea, that didn't happen. Thought he was going to get us into war with Iran, that absolutely didn't happen. And he's a real strategic genius, and I really mess with the dude. He's dope.
Are you going to vote for the president in 2020? It appears so.
That's not even. There's no question. That's why I'm here. I'm absolutely going to vote for him.
Keene marking Black History Month yesterday during a White House reception and gave a special thank you to the niece of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Listen.
I was privileged to sign the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historic Act just a few weeks ago with Alveda by my side, and that was such an honor.
Fox News contributor Dr. Alveda King joins us right now. She's also the author of the new book called King Truths. Alveda, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you very much. And Ash Wednesday as well.
Yes.
Dr. King, tell us a little bit. I know Donald Trump is out to improve the lives of every American, he says, but how has he helped the African American community?
Well, early on during his campaign, in the beginning of his term, he said that the way you deal with racism, make sure everyone is safe, has gainful employment or their own business, and they're secure, they're safe, and they are enjoying America, and that's going to bring us all together. He says no matter what your skin color is, we bleed red. We're red-blooded Americans. So in his perspective, you serve everybody the same way without bias and all of that. And so I believe that perspective, bringing jobs back to America from overseas, dropping that unemployment rate, rising the employment rate and opportunities, business opportunities and all of that for men, women, young children can get internships and things. So it's really helping America with the jobs. And that's why, Congressional Black Caucus sat down on the jobs and all of that. We need to stand up for all Americans, including African Americans.
Alveda, I saw you at the White House yesterday for Black History Month as the president presided over the festivities. I'm sure you've got friends, though, who say, Alveda, we know you, we like you. Why do you like Donald Trump? We just don't get it.
All over Twitter, Facebook, and I hear all these kind of comments, a little sad faces popping across, but a lot of happy faces and thumbs up too. So I just like him because he keeps his promises. He says we're going to stop, aborting babies is not good, not having jobs for everybody is not good, Americans are dreamers too. All of those things I happen to agree with. Is he a perfect man? There are no perfect men or women. I'm not perfect, but he keeps his promises. His heart is in the right place. Yeah.
This man is so racist. Why is he giving $100 billion to low-income communities? He's so racist. If he's so racist, why he's the president that reopened back funding for HBCUs?
So you're 100% for Trump?
150,000%.
Damn, all right, nigga.
Yeah. Who would you be for, Obama? What did he do? I'll wait. You tell me one thing he did. Oh, but he's racist, but yet he signed into law the jail reform law that freed over 4,000 people, 97% were black. But he's racist, though. This is what racists do. This is the new era of racism. I need that racism. I like it. I like it. If that's racist, let me get more of that.
From the outside, but then also having the opportunity to go inside now.
When I met 24-year-old Devin Smart outside the White House, one thing became perfectly clear.
I believe that President Donald Trump is going to win 2020 by a landslide.
It wasn't always this way. Hardly. He grew up in a family of diehard Democrats and attended an historically black university in Hampton, Virginia. While at college, Devin started researching Trump for himself, and a specific line resonated with him.
What the hell do you have to lose?
I was just looking at his different policies, the things that he said that he was going to do. I said, okay, I'm starting to like this guy, but I was scared to say it out loud because I knew I was going to get judged.
While he didn't vote in 2016, soon after Trump became president, Devin outed himself on Twitter as a full-fledged Trump supporter, complete with the Make America Great Again hat.
The Democratic Party has been manipulating the black community for over 50 years, and I was simply tired of it.
The insults came quickly.
I've been called a coon, a bootlicker, Uncle Tom, all of these derogatory terms simply because I support the president.
And then came more fallout. Twice he's been asked to preach at a spiritual revival conference in Virginia, and twice he's been disinvited.
The pastor called me and said, unless you go on your Twitter and say that you do not support the president, I can't invite you here. I said, well, tell me where in the Bible does it say that I cannot preach at your church because I support the president? And he said, well, there's a lot of people at my church who doesn't support the president, and when I seen that, they would be very upset with me if you come, so I have to take away your invitation.
Although the pastor hung up the phone, Devin still remains dialed in for Trump. He says he's not been disappointed. An historically low unemployment rate for African Americans, a groundbreaking prison reform law, and allocating a record amount of federal money to historically black colleges. And those achievements, by the way, may be just paying political dividends. In 2016, Trump won 8% of the black vote, but a new poll now shows him with almost double that, 15%.
That is the loudest I've ever heard anything in this room.
Devin came to the White House in October as part of the Black Leadership Summit. As a Christian, he experienced something pretty cool. It started when talking to a friend before the event.
She said, I would love to pray at the White House. So at the end, me and her both said, hey, President Trump, can we pray? And he pointed at me and he said, come up and pray. But she had just told me that she had a dream about praying at the White House. I looked at her, I said, go ahead.
And so she did.
God protect us, God protect our president as he's going through so much right now.
Devin went through a lot as well for publicly supporting the president. He tells me many more like him are still out there, but they operate in stealth mode.
Blacks for Trump. I like those sides.
I had over 100 messages on my Twitter of people saying, Devin, I support the president, but I'm not as strong as you to come out and say it in public. I have a lot of people who support President Donald Trump, but they won't say it. It's secret. And they're going to vote for him in 2020. I'm telling you they are.
Arrogance, and frankly, I would love to have a conversation about Joe Biden's record versus Donald Trump's record. Can we please have that conversation on national TV, Fox News, the CNN, the ABC? This is a record that the president will win on. Think about the Opportunity Zone legislation in and of itself. President Trump has helped create a $75 billion investment into the poorest communities. And now Lindsey Graham and the president are working to bring broadband into those poorest areas. The ability to connect people who today are unconnected for learning, for medicine, and for jobs of the future. What has but Joe Biden done in the last 20 years? And the answer is crickets. Think about the 1994 crime bill that disproportionately targeted African-American males. What did President Trump do? He came back with the First Step Act that said, we are going to have fairness in sentencing. We're going to help people who are coming out not return. That is a form of compassion that can be measured by the lives changed, by the families impacted. And so for Joe Biden to say to 1.3 million African Americans who voted for President Trump that they ain't black is arrogant, condescending, and it frankly speaks to the families of the 1.3 million African Americans as well.
So well said.
You know, Senator, I'm always inclined to think that, you know, a comment like this, that the one Joe Biden made on the Breakfast Club, would have some consequences for him when it comes to voters. But the thing is, when you look back in history, this is not the first time that Joe Biden has made a comment like that, and he continues to get away with it. Let's just take a look back in this clip.
Sure.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids. He's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
I've had a great relationship. In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
Wow.
So this is a pattern of behavior. Will it matter to voters this time around?
I think it will, mostly because folks like Charlemagne and other folks in the celebrity community and the African American community are coming out saying, wait a second, let's actually take a look at the record and see what he's produced. The crack cocaine disparity is something he produced. Most African Americans find that to be deplorable. I've already mentioned the crime bill. But Kamala Harris, when she was debating him on the stage, talked about his opposition to integration. There are so many clear points, landmarks in his career, that if we have a chance to debate the issues, a chance to debate his performance, what we will say is, President Trump, wait, let me get this right. President Trump has provided the highest level of funding for historically black colleges and universities in the history of the country. You mean to tell me that it was President Trump who made the permanent funding for those HBCUs permanent for the next 10 years? Then they'll say, you mean to tell me that President Trump is the one that focused on sickle cell anemia, a disease that is rampant in the African American community, and not Vice President Biden? You mean to tell me that the Opportunity Scholarships in Washington, D.C., supported by Dianne Feinstein, Cory Booker, Tim Scott, Ron Johnson, sign into law, that continues to provide public charter schools more resources? Wait a second. I thought that would be, no, it's not Biden. It's Donald J. Trump, who I have already predicted would not receive 8% of the African American vote, but a 50% increase, at least 12%. And the reason why is that the more we focus on his record, it becomes more and more undeniable that if you were looking for proof in the pudding and not rhetoric that is condescending, you go with President Trump and not with Vice President Joe, John, Beau Biden. I mean, you just don't do it. You go with the guy who's producing results. And frankly, I am just amazed that the last decade, Democrats have had an entitlement mentality that they are entitled to the black vote. And President Trump said, and he said it well, there's nothing to lose by giving the Republican Party a second look. It's like cornflakes. Taste them again for the first time. President Trump, our president.
Senator, you lay out a devastating case. Well said. Joe Biden went on to talk a little bit more about President Trump. Here's a portion of it.
2016 is totally different. What you had then is you had somebody who didn't know it all. They wanted to just change the system the way it was. He was the biggest change. Right now, we're in a situation where it's like, that Carney show goes through town once and you find out there's no pee under any one of those 3 shells that get pushed around. Mm-hmm. Next time it comes back, what do? Next time it comes back, you ain't playing. You got to figure it out.
Senator, people wanted a change in 2016 from the Obama-Biden administration?
Yes, and they got it. And here's the thing. No one can blame anyone for a global pandemic. So the question is, what type of leadership did President Trump provide for the communities at risk, comparatively speaking, to the previous administration or any administration? What President Trump provided was simply the lowest unemployment rate in the history of this country for African Americans, for Hispanics, 50-year low for our nation, 70-year low for women. But more important than just the unemployment rate, we had an increase in the labor force participation within the African American community. Out of the 7 million jobs that President Trump created during his administration, 2/3 went to black folks, brown folks, and women. I am looking forward to the conversation about what has he done for me lately, or Wendy's, where's the beef? Let's just get ready to rumble, because this is something we can absolutely, positively, unequivocally win. This should be an easy one. And if we have a debate on the issues, bless his heart, Joe Biden.
Senator, let's talk quickly about things you're trying to do here in the Senate. You're looking to release a measure offering a skills training credit worth $4,000 to workers displaced by the coronavirus. What is it?
Well, here's what we're seeing in the coronavirus. Many jobs may never come back. And when you hear Twitter say all employees stay at home, Facebook says over the next few years, half of the employees will stay at home. It's one of the reasons why broadband is so important. I thank the president for focusing on that issue. The other thing is, how do we help the folks who are unemployed get the retraining necessary for the gig economy? How do we help them bridge the digital divide? We do that through a tax credit that says if you will go to a training program to help you be able to design web development, to work on digital opportunities, that's the place to go.
Absolutely. Senator Tim Scott, thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday morning. Fantastic stuff.
Right now, the black vote is cracking. We are getting tired of the victim narrative. We are getting tired of not speaking about the real issues facing our community and trying to get us to believe in the boogeyman, the myth of white supremacy on the rise as something that's keeping us back.
All right. Candace Owens, there she is.
I'm Jack Brewer, a former 3-time NFL team captain, college professor, coach, husband, son, and father. I'm also a lifelong Democrat, but I support Donald Trump. Let me be clear. I didn't come here for the popularity or the praise, the likes or the retweets. I'm here as a servant to God, a servant to the people of our nation, and a servant to our president. I grew up in Grapevine, Texas, a town that my great-grandfather was the first black man to settle as a sharecropper in 1896. My early high school experience included fighting with skinheads and being a witness in an attempted murder trial after my friend shot a skinhead in self-defense. I remember my dad's bravery when he personally stood up against a KKK rally in my town. In my house, my father taught me to back down from no one. I know what racism looks like. I've seen it firsthand. In America, it has no resemblance to President Trump. And I'm fed up with the way he's portrayed in the media, who refuse to acknowledge what he's actually done for the black community. It's confusing the minds of our innocent children. Before I left to come deliver this message, my energetic 8-year-old son Jackson stopped me and said, "Dad, can you please just tell everyone that all lives need to matter and that God loves everyone?" In that moment, I realized that my 8-year-old had figured out what so many adults have seemed to forget. We are not as divided as our politics suggests. At some point, for the sake of our children, the policies must take priority over the personalities. So because you have an issue with President Trump's tone, you're going to allow Biden and Harris to deny our underserved black and brown children school choice? Are we so offended by the president's campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," that we're going to ignore that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have collectively been responsible for locking up countless black men for nonviolent crimes? Are you going to allow the media to lie to you by falsely claiming that he said there were very fine white supremacists in Charlottesville? He didn't say that. It's a lie. And ignore the so-called Black Lives Matter organization that openly, on their website, calls for the destruction of the nuclear family. My fellow Americans, our families need each other. We need black fathers in the homes with their wives and children. The future of our communities depend on it. I'm blessed to be able to run inner city youth programs and to also teach in prisons across America. The inmates in my federal prison program literally receive days off their sentence just for attending my class. And that's thanks to President Donald Trump and his First Step Act. President Trump cared about these Americans and their families, even when so many others had left them behind and had written them off. I'm forever grateful for President Trump for that. He endures relentless attacks, and so do many of us, like myself, who support him. But my mama always told me, when the Lord starts blessing, the devil starts messing. This convention marks a time to celebrate our history. Republicans are the party that freed the slaves and the party that put the first black men and women in Congress. It's the party of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. And now, Tim Scott and Donald Trump. Our president has made incredible strides to end mass incarceration and give unprecedented opportunities for Black in America to rise. God bless America.
What were you telling those guys?
Well, I was trying to get them to understand, like, just at first answer the question, because we would give him a question for him to answer, you know, because Donald Trump is racist. Well, how's he racist? That's it.
He's been saying, I've seen him quoted saying some racist shit about black people.
Like what? Nothing. You got nothing. You keep saying, oh, I heard him say this. I heard him say that. But you have no facts, though, bro. You got to come with some facts. That's it. Oh, and they just repeat it and repeat it. So I'm like, look, just answer the question. But they can't answer the question because they have no facts on their side. They have no facts. They don't do any research. They don't do any type of higher learning when it comes to what they believe. All they know is what the media narrative tells them to believe, and that's all they parrot.
The organization is fake. Like, I personally believe that the BLM movement is fake. It has nothing to do with advancing the lives of black people.
They actually say they want to break up the family home.
Exactly. Their main goal is to break up the patriarchal, nuclear family. They want the men removed out of the family, which is what Democrats want also.
Exactly.
If BLM really cared about black lives, why would it be solely isolated to incidents where a black life is taken at the hands of a white cop? That happens less than 1%.
Come on.
Now, wait. Now, I like to equate this to, it's the same as if I was in a horrific accident. I have a massive head wound, I have a leg fracture and a scratch on my finger. And here come the first responders and they want to tend to the scratch on my finger. And I'm telling you, what about the wound on my head? What about my fractured leg?
Come on.
That's what the BLM movement is. They're tending to the scratch on my finger, and that's not even what it's about. If you want to help us, let us tell you how you can help us. Don't come in and tell us how you want to help us, and don't tell me that I'm oppressed, because I'm not oppressed. I'm a black American. I'm a proud black American. I am not oppressed. I am not oppressed. I'm one of the freest persons on this world.
Come on.
Kneel for no man. I only kneel to God.
As you can see,
no one has a privilege over me except for God.
As you can see, black conservatism is the new punk rock. If you know what I mean?
We're the rebels. You want to be cool? Come join our cause, baby.
One question: who are we voting for in 2020?
Trump 2020!
And on and on and on.
This is historically black colleges and universities executive order, very important to all of us. This group has been fantastic, many of which we were with yesterday, and really developed something very special. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, also Mike, for being here. This is a very important moment, and a moment that means a great deal to me. This month has been a wonderful opportunity to celebrate African American history and to begin working together to create a better future for African Americans and universities and colleges and everything that is African American. Today we're taking action to help make that future happen and that future better. Historically, black colleges and universities are incredibly important institutions woven into the fabric of our history, just about like no other. Church is very important, right? Colleges and universities. Come here. My defender. He's Education has the power to uplift. It has the power to transform, and perhaps most important, education has the power to create greater equality and justice in our lives. That's why today I'm thrilled to be signing an executive order to recognize the importance of historically black college and universities. Very important. They have played such an important role in achieving progress for African Americans and in our nation's march for justice. HBCUs have been really pillars of the African American community for more than 150 years. Amazing job. And a grand and enduring symbol of America at its absolute best. And I congratulate you all to say that. Thank you. With this executive order, we will make HBCUs a priority in the White House, an absolute priority. All right. That they're not a priority, but that's okay. And we will pledge our support to you, your mission, and our shared mission of bringing education and opportunity to all of our people. And so I just want to congratulate, these are very, very special people. surrounding me. You've done an amazing job. It's not easy. Nothing's easy. But you have done an amazing job, and I just want to congratulate you all, and I want to thank you. Thank you for your support on behalf of our country. And I'm going to sign this. So thank you. And this is really fantastic. Who's going to get that? Thank you all very much.